So folks, this morning turned quite interesting. As you can see, I'm blocked on Twitter by Fragmentation. You might wonder who's Fragmentation. Well, he's the Mexican streamer that 2 years ago decided to grind the entire Puerto Rico during the World of Warship scandal. But this isn't about World of Warships. We were having a debate around firearms and firearms rights. Okay, so why is this important? Well, as you can see by my posts, and if you follow me on any social media, Facebook, Twitter, etc., you'll know I am a firearms enthusiast. I legally own several firearms. I never leave home without it, because South Africa is the 8th most homicidal nation in the world. Our police force is completely and utterly incapable of defending us, and therefore you have to rely on yourself. And that's a statistic. We're more homicidal than Colombia. We're 8th in the world. I think Mexico, where he lives, is 12th. And how the discussion started is around the terrible tragedy that happened at the Rob Elementary School shooting, where an 18-year-old perpetrator fatally shot 19 students and 2 teachers and wounded 17 others. Of course, the anti-gun lobby is screaming, ban the guns. Why is an 18-year-old allowed to buy a AR-15? AR-15 should be banned. Guns are bad, etc. And for years, myself and many people have stated that the gun isn't the problem. Firearms do 3 things. They function, they malfunction, and they rust. That is it. There is somebody behind the trigger pulling it. And when that trigger is pulled, that's when the firearm functions. The firearm doesn't walk itself into the school, all right? And a lot of people will say, yeah, but it's a preferred method of these school shootings, etc. Well, there's been several incidents where other items have been used. And a massive tragedy that happened a couple of years ago in France. Terrorists took trucks. America, 2001, September 11, airplanes. So, and for the South African statistics, the most homicides are committed with a sharp object. It's actually not even firearms. So, you've got the anti-gun element on the one side, and then you've got the pro-gun on the other side. And the pro-gun, very much like Joe Rogan, back in 2013, so 9 years ago, he said, this country has a mental health problem disguised as a gun problem. This gunman in Texas was a lonely 18-year-old who was bullied over a childhood speech impediment, suffered from fraught home life, and lashed out violently against peers and strangers recently and over the years, friends and relatives said. So, you've got a perfect situation. Rumor has it that his mother was a drug abuser as well. No father figure. He's bullied, abused at school, etc. And turns into a violent killer. Don't blame the schooling system. Don't blame the failing parents for causing this to happen. Blame the gun that he used. The inanimate object. So, I'm in South Africa, and people seem to have this confusion that firearms are easy to obtain. So let me show you something. This is my last purchase. I purchased this Hauer bolt action rifle on the 20th September 2021. Then I actually had to go to our local police station and hand in all the paperwork, and the earliest appointment I got was the 10th of October. South Africa's gun laws are regulated by this piece of paperwork, the Firearms Control Act of 2000, and it was implemented in 2004. And essentially how it works is quite strict. If I want to become a legal firearm owner, I have to go for various sets of training. So the first is a legal test, when you can and can't use a firearm, how it should be stored, etc., etc. Then you have to do a competency for every type of firearm, and they split into 4. You've got handgun, shotgun, bolt-action rifle, what that is, and self-loading rifle / carbine, as they call it. All right, so 5 tests in total that you have to do. You have to attend classes, you have to write an exam, then you send a competency application to the South African Police Services. And that entire process can take 5 to 6 months, because what they do is they take your fingerprints at the police station, they send it to a central registry, they run those fingerprints against fingerprints to see if it matches with any criminal activity. Comes back negative, then you get handed a competency certificate. Only once you have a competency certificate can you buy a firearm. Then I have to write a thick motivation of why I want that firearm. There are various categories. They're called sections in the Act, and the most popular are the Section 13, which is your self-defense, your Section 15, which is occasional sport shooter, and Section 16, which is dedicated sport shooter. You can't also buy more than one firearm for self-defense. You can only have one for self-defense. If you're an occasional hunter or occasional sport shooter, your maximum amount of firearms are only 4. Yet, all that gun control, and we're still the 8th most homicidal country in the world. Stricter gun control does not work. People commit crime because of socioeconomic factors, and in our case, it is unemployment and poverty, etc., etc. Now, one of the things is, a lot of people are like, well, why do you want guns? Because I want it. And here's the thing with anybody that is in the gun debate. I will defend somebody else's rights to the nth degree, because I know what it's like for my rights to be trampled on. Gay rights, same-sex marriage, etc. I'm in your camp. I expect you to be in my camp then. You can't have it one way and not the other. And this quote, I think, is one of the favorite ones that came through on Twitter. In the debate over guns, both sides are angry. The pro-gunners are angry at the ignorance, the lies and distortions of the anti-gunners. And the anti-gunners are angry with the pro-gunners for presenting facts. Tell me that's not the truth. So, I think one of the best quotes I saw a good couple of months ago was this one. And this was at the Kyle Rittenhouse shooting, where he was found innocent, by the way. And this person here asked, as a German, I will never understand how on earth this kid could walk on open street with a gun. And I think this reply was brilliant. That gun and millions more like it ensures that that kid won't ever get herded into a boxcar. And if you're not familiar with exactly what that means, I suggest you brush up on your history. The big problem is, and this bears stating again, is that the anti-gun lobby are not interested in gun owners' arguments. And there are people who express incredulity at the anti-gunners not understanding the utter indefensible ridiculousness of their own position. But they don't care. They will defend their position to the death. They are fully committed to it. They will never grant concessions or admit that errors have been made. Instead, they will ignore, deflect, counterattack, obfuscate, and redirect the discussion. And if you argue against the anti-gun crowd, Your sole purpose should be to convince other people in the audience of your position, and then attack the irrational foundation of anti-gun non-argument. But you'll never convince the anti-gunners of anything. It's a grave mistake to believe it's possible. They aren't interested in debating you on merit. They're only interested in spreading their own propaganda as far as wide as possible. And we see it again, repeatedly with this. It was the gun's fault. It wasn't the fact that this person struggled with bullying and that there was no help available that he could turn to, that he didn't have a solid family life. You know, one of the things I need to actually also show, where is this? There we go. I'm going to go back from this picture. This is my daughter. She's been shooting since the age of 10. Happily married, good solid foundation, and she's comfortable around firearms while being safe. If you look clearly at the picture, she's got a ear protection, she's got eye protection. We are on a gun range and the firearm on her hip is unloaded. But to come back to Mr. Fragmentation, I'm not angry at all. I'm disappointed because you typed a lot of replies, and in the replies you called me a coward, and I'm okay with that. I have no problem being called names. I was a ginger at school and I was bullied, and I'm okay with that. The problem is you called me a coward and immediately blocked me, not giving me the chance to even reply properly to these insinuations that you are making. You were using petty grade 1 insults. But I'm not angry. I want to extend an invite to you. Let's get together on Discord and discuss it. Leave the petty insults at the door. Discuss it like the grown-up that I know you are. Sit around the campfire and listen to the facts, not to the emotions. Take the emotions out. Don't call somebody a dumb idiot. I don't ever call anybody a dumb idiot because sometimes those people are smarter than you are. So this is an open invitation. Ping me on Discord. Ping me on Twitch. Happy to sit around and have a proper adult conversation. But blocking me because you don't like what I have to say, that's kind of cowardly from your side. Anyway, wish everybody the very best of weekends. And yeah, take care. Stay safe out there. Buy more guns. Cheers.